When you're doing this work, you're trying to figure out, well, when you're doing a program like we do, you wonder who you're reaching. What's the goal? Is it just to talk one way and see if people actually respond? We've got a daily program, 2 hours a day. We've got a powerful stage, but what's the end?
My hope is that people will feel hopeful.
All right. Okay.
That I can, for themselves though, not like taking my hope and just like wearing it and then it wears off because it's not their own. It's something that they borrowed from me. It has to be their own thing. And I mean, I can't really make people feel hopeful, but I can model that. That's about the best I can do. You know, it's about creating pathways. You know, that's what we're all about, paths.
What scares you about working with the community?
What scares me is their expectation that we can change things quickly. It's clear even as we go through these exercises, as we make connections, that this is a process and it's messy and there are no answers.
There's a couple things I'm struggling with, to be honest. I think one of the big ones is figuring out how to really do that transition once you've gained better knowledge of the community and you've gotten the staff to understand what community engagement is about, figuring out how to apply that.
The easiest way that we were able to sway people is just by showing them by example. There were a couple of community engagement initiatives that we already had ongoing at the station that once other folks from other parts of the station were involved in it, they were able to see, wow, this is what we really should be doing. This is what we should always be using our airtime for.
And I think one of the things that we've tried to figure out is, again, these conversations, I hate using the word, how do you engage people? How do you mobilize people? Are you reaching them in a way that it's more than a one-way conversation where it's coming from me and going out to them? This idea of acknowledging the fact that there are listeners out there that want to get into the conversation somehow.
I think the most surprising thing is really how much people responded to our work and how deeply they felt the work and how appreciative they were about the work. I mean, we've always done things that people said that they were appreciative of, but the fact that we were all speaking the same language and moving forward in the same way, that it wasn't production was doing one thing and education was doing another thing and marketing was doing another thing, it's that we all were focused on the same end goal, which was engaging the community and telling the community stories.
I think that the concepts are, while they're comfortable concepts, they're also nebulous enough that it's difficult to put those kind of concepts with the hard day-to-day operational kinds of stuff that we do. And I think that that melding of the two, that figuring out how to do it ourselves and figuring out how to help staff people come along, or even whilst we're learning it ourselves, is an enormous challenge.
The advice I'd give myself is to start the conversations immediately and to keep better data from the very beginning of the groups. I know I obviously keep record of who I'm speaking to, but more of their gender, maybe the age, the geographic location of the groups I'm working with.
We're starting to see a change, and it's really exciting. Really exciting. That we just last week had a meeting with our staff. We had a workspace, and we heard people talking in ways that were vastly different from how they talked when we first brought these concepts back to the station.
And what, in your opinion, what does it take to create change?
Persistence. I think it takes persistence because, I don't know, I'm sure there are phases, and someone has thought through this, but there is the, oh, that'll never work phase, and there is the, let's keep talking about this forever and never actually do anything phase, and then somewhere there's another phase where someone says, well, maybe if we started here.
What did you, with the CEI, what did you take on? What was your project?
With the CEI project, we took on trying to be more of a viable partner with the arts community in the desert cities. So we started having conversations with donors and then arts organizations, leaders of those organizations, and just recently we started by having really great conversations with people in the community that partake in the arts but aren't necessarily leaders or major donors. And we've learned so much through the process.
How can you tell your engagement work has impact?
It's an excellent question, and one we struggle with quite a bit. I think, and I may be in the minority here, but I think it's largely going to be anecdotal, which means that the onus is on us to listen. We have to listen for signs of change. We have to be better observers of our own community and ask ourselves the same questions we started with over and over and over and over. Are we making a difference? Is this what the community needs?
Where do you see KUSC 5 years from now?
I see us in the desert communities being a big mover out there, helping them to bridge gaps that we are seeing that they're having right now, and seeing us right in the middle of it.
I think our station has become more relevant, especially with UView, the video sharing website that we have. We go to conferences and we go to meetings and we go to events and we tape it and then we bring it back. And it's just now our station is more in the community and people are able to see what's going on.
I think this process has really made me realize that the direction that I want to take the work that I lead in the station, and it's really helped me gain focus as a new leader in my station. I'm a new general manager, so it's really helped me clarify my own path as a leader.
What's your take on failure?
I'd be lying to you if I said this comes naturally to me, but I have learned that we need to look at it as a learning experience. I am much more instinctively likely to think of it as a personal, devastating failure that I will never forgive myself for. But I know that the real approach is to look at it, what can I learn from this?
And I think what we've gotten better of as we do this kind of work is once somebody is done calling in or sending an email, we'll contact them. We'll hang on to them, try to get their phone number, try to get their email address, and then bring them in for a further conversation down the road. I'll call them up, talk to them off the air, try to get some more ideas, things that we could be discussing that we haven't touched on, try to bring them in with other people, like-minded people, or people that disagree on a topic, get them involved in future programs as well.
This work has been something that I have been trying to do for a long time in the world of public television. It's not so much, that it's changed me, because this is why I came to public television so many years ago. I knew there was a difference. I sometimes,
it's the right path.
Right. I'm struck by our colleagues that sometimes look at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I want to flip that back and say, we work in this thing called public media.
There's my son is a musician. He's a saxophone musician, and I hooked him up recently with a new teacher. One of his initial comments to me was that no nightlife, and when he says nightlife, he's not talking about a bar scene. He's talking about places for people to come together and discuss issues and have, discuss issues with people that are different from them, and just gathering spots for people to have great. And it's the same exact thing I'm hearing from the conversations we're having around the community. People are yearning for that sort of a thing. They're looking for that. They want to connect with one another.
I think the change that we've created at the station is a sense that we're not fighting a tide of is radio relevant. That we have a very strong sense of our relevancy and our meaning to the community, and wanting to build on that, rather than saying, oh gosh, we're radio and there's all sorts of new other technologies that might be making us less relevant. We feel more relevant.
I think for a lot of people, they were very skeptical. Some were very cynical that it would work, and it worked.